ready? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Range roll, party time, excellent.
Man.
That felt good, didn't it? What a way to start a show.
Crush that one.
What a way to start a show.
Taking appointments for guitar lessons.
I'm tired already. Welcome back to the Ultimate Deck Show. I'm your host, Shane Chapman, my right-hand man, Justin MacRae. And that was a performance you can thank us for later.
Please do. Please thank us later. That would be great if you did that.
We're back today at the Ultimate Deck Shop here and coming to you with another roundup of decking things for 2019. So we've talked about some big brands already this year, and
this is no exception.
Just right into it, eh?
We might as well just dive right into her.
Okay, fine. Today's TimberTech.
I'm just going to give her.
For those who don't know, TimberTech is now owned by Azek. They are one company. That happened a few years ago, but we're going to split them up because they both have two big lineups. So the TimberTech collection is Azek's Composite collection. These Americans got me saying this. Like, I'm 50-50 now.
It's going to take me a while to get used to, that's 50-50,
for sure. Yeah. So TimberTech is the composite line, there goes my pen, of the Azek Building Products line of decking. And so that's what we're going to go through today. They've got quite a lineup. Let's start it off. We're going to go...
No, you were going to do the...
Awkward silence.
Not the terrain, but the other one.
Edge.
No. You're going to talk about the...
Reliaboard.
Reliaboard, right. Well,
we're not the only...
We're super prepared.
We're not the only ones that have forgotten about Reliaboard. It's a very forgettable board.
Okay, good.
I'm just kidding. It's a good board. We're going to start with Reliaboard, which we don't have samples here of. But what Reliaboard is the original non-capped composite that TimberTech is still producing because it does quite well in some markets. It's not really available here. I don't have samples of it. But because if you go to their website, you're going to see a category called Reliaboard, and if we don't talk about it, you're like, oh, those guys are idiots. They don't know what they're talking about. Where's Reliaboard? What the hell's that? So Reliaboard, for those who don't know the history of composite decking, it used to be, composite decking used to be just plastic, like HDPE plastic, recycled plastic, and wood fiber, wood flour, whatever each company wants to call it, mixed in one of those cuisine art mixers that your mom has.
Right.
It's probably not that far from the truth.
Mixed up like a batch of cookies.
Just mixed up like a batch of cookies, mixed together, extruded through an
food coloring in there to give it some color.
A little bit of food coloring, but food coloring fades. So it was extruded through an extruder. That's how that works. That is the shape of the deck board. And so, great, that worked fine. Some companies had some issues with doing things that old way. Like it was first generation product.
Right.
So they didn't exactly know how this stuff would hold up through different weather conditions in different areas over the years. And some companies found out that, well, not so good. So there was some issues with producing boards in that fashion. And even the ones that did well, which Reliaboard was one of them, is a great product. It worked really well. They've got Reliaboard, Docksider. There's a few different names for similar boards they have. You still always have the issue with fading and staining. So if you slop some barbecue grease on a Reliaboard, because of the exposed wood fiber and the lack of a pure cap,
super porous.
It's very porous and it'll absorb that oil stain right away. And problem. Also, it fades, right? So there's a few out there that are still making non-capped composites. TimberTech still making Reliaboard. Moisture Shield still makes their line of non-capped composites. Latitudes does. You can still find Choice Deck, which is made by Moisture Shield or AERT through Lowe's, etc. But that's what Reliaboard is. If you see it out there, that's what it is. Do you want it? Maybe. It's like a good price point, I think. I don't know. It's not here, but
warranty-wise on the uncapped products is quite limited, though.
You've usually got a really good structural warranty, but you're not going to get any stain or fade warranty.
Exactly.
That's out the window because it will fade and it will stain, guaranteed. Like that's the warranty.
Right.
We warranty that this will.
We guarantee that it will fade and
stain.
That it will stain.
So, anyway, we've spent way more time talking about Reliaboard
than we wanted
than I had anticipated.
Okay.
So let's move off it. Let's get to the train line.
All right, here we go.
The rest of this lineup is completely capped composites, and so these are capped to protect the boards from fading and staining. So they all come with a couple of years ago, it was 25-year warranty on fade or stain.
Right.
Last year, I think it was, or maybe the year before, TimberTech bumped that to 30 years.
That's right.
And either I had a dream or somebody told me that they were bumping that to 35 in 2019.
Oh, wow.
So I think it's going to a 35-year warranty on fading and staining and structural on TimberTech.
That would be the highest in...
As far as I know, the longest warranty on a composite deck board, at least of the big
that we carry,
of the big brands, yeah, for sure.
Right.
And I can only assume that if the brand isn't a big brand, they're not, or like they don't have the capacity to give longer warranties. So I think it'll be the longest warranty in the industry. Yep, on a composite deck board. And maybe even on PVC.
You're saying composite a lot.
Look, understand your audience.
I feel like you're just mispronouncing words randomly.
Yeah. Well, last episode we were talking about IP.
Excuse me.
IP.
Sorry.
There's some more that I'll mispronounce getting up. Let's get to the freaking deck boards already.
Yeah. Let's do it. All right, first one.
This is the TimberTech Terrain line. Now this is your low-cost, entry-level, capped composite deck boards.
And
that's why they're lower cost. They've got that scalloped back. You can see there's some material removed right there to bring the cost of these boards down. These are great boards. Mm-hmm. The nice thing about TimberTech is that their entire lineup, asterisks, because things are changing this year, is that they've got the full wrap cap. So that protective layer that protects that wood fiber core from the sun and the fading and staining and whatnot actually goes through the groove around the bottom of the board. It's completely encapsulated other than the very cut ends. That's the only part that's not treated. So that's pretty much exclusive to these guys because Trex doesn't cap the bottoms of the boards at all. They've got their reasons, but they just don't. Fibron only caps the bottom on their higher end boards, but then they cut the groove in afterwards. So TimberTech's the only one that can say that their board is actually fully wrapped through the groove, whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm sure in some instances that's helpful, but most of the time, you know, the other companies have success with the way they do theirs too. This is just how TimberTech does it. So Stone Ash is their gray offering in the Terrain collection. Now these boards in Canada are retailing, things are dropping this year, but they were retailing around the $3 mark. I'm guessing that's probably like low twos, maybe even the ones in the US. But nice entry-level price point, some nice coloring. Stone Ash is a bit of a hint of a bluish gray. A nice embossed pattern on it.
It still carries, it does carry, even though it is the kind of the entry level, it still carries that 30-year warranty.
Yeah, you've still got the same warranty.
35 if they decide to bump that up.
Same warranty that the expensive boards have. So it's a great option. My only knock against the Terrain line here is that we've noticed that it tends to be a little bit more susceptible to scratching with big dogs or things like that. But that's, you know, you kind of come to expect that with the lower cost boards that you're going to have to make some
sacrifices. There's going to be a trade-off for sure.
Trade-off. So
even I think just with the type of the embossing that's on it, not necessarily scratching as much as if it's a high traffic area, it'll wear down over time.
It's just that, and I've been to the TimberTech plant and they described it, and it's just that the wood grain on this is very hair-like, tiny little strands, and they stand up quite a bit. And so all that's happening when it gets scratched or worn down is that those strands are getting knocked down. They're getting flattened. You're not scratching through the cap. It's not hurting the board in any way. It's just that the graining gets knocked down. And so you can, like sometimes you can heat it back up with a hairdryer and kind of comb the graining back into it or whatever. But again, you're getting a great product at a great price point, so you might have to live with a scratch or two. Everything scratches eventually.
Chocolat.
Rustic elm. The chocolat. We're Canadian, so we have to throw some French in there.
Super French here in Saskatchewan.
Rustic elm. Here is the dark brown offering. Again, no variegated coloring in it because this is the same price point as the other Terrain at Stone Ash. But a nice deep chocolatey brown. I mean, it works great with, what more can you say? It works great with brown houses.
Yeah, it does. It works really well with brown houses. So, and this is a popular combo with this next color, actually.
These two go great together.
These two go really well together. So this is Sandy Birch, which is your...
Have a look at that, hey?
Taupey. A taupey beige.
Taupey
beige.
Yeah, we'll call that taupey. So, yeah, Sandy Birch. That's a nice kind of light brown, tanny, taupey, beigey color. This isn't not everybody has a color like this in their lineup. Trex kind of does. They've got that rope swing color, but it's a higher price point, a much higher price point than what this is at. So, and it's not exactly the same. It's similar, but so if you're looking for something like this, a light kind of brown tan color, this is a great price point to get into. And like I said, because of the full wrap on this, these are protected on the back side. You don't have to be as conscious about where you're installing this as you would with an unprotected board. You know, if it's low to the ground, if there's not much ventilation or over a dock or something, the bottoms are protected. That's the real benefit of that. Again, still scalloped to the back, as all the train line boards are. So those are the 3 solid color terrain boards that I believe are going to drop in price a little bit this year, but it's their entry-level price point, whatever that is in your market. You'll have to check. Here, it was, like I said, into the $3 a linear foot Canadian, but expected to go down, and quite a bit less in the States, I would have to think. Now, terrain doesn't stop there. They've got a variegated lineup as well. So these 5 colors are all classified under the terrain line, but these ones have some coloring in them. So this is... Here's the winner.
Has this been the #1 board we've sold this year?
#1 board, I think, since we opened the store. I think almost every year this is the #1. So this is called Silver Maple. Very attractive board.
You can see you can see some variegation there.
Yeah, very popular board. And this board doesn't even show all the variegation. If you see a full deck in this, you'll get some really big black streaks in there too. So for TimberTech, this has been a bit of, I'm not going to say an island mist killer, but compared to the Trex Island Mist, it's a similar color. It's a little bit more browny than the Island Mist one is.
And I think that's what sets it apart. I think the fact that this is a little bit more brown, it'll go with more. Some of the brands have their gray boards, but they almost have more of a blue tinge to them, which can clash with some of the exterior colors in homes if it's not like a cold gray or like a dark charcoal exterior. This will actually pull brown, which is great for the consumer.
Every grays are tricky. Every gray that anybody produces has either a blue undertone or a brown undertone to it. There's almost no such thing as a pure neutral gray. They're pretty tough to come by. So. But sometimes you don't see that until it's sitting against something else. Right. So this might, in the store, look super gray to you, and then you take it home and you put it up against your house that's got a bit of a bluish tinge or a pinkish tinge, and all of a sudden, holy smokes, this thing looks brown. Right. And vice versa will happen. You put it against a brown house, and all of a sudden this looks more pure gray to you. So it's really important to take these home, lay them against whatever it's going to be installed against to make sure that the color works for you, because these grays are tricky. We've also got a brown option within the TimberTech terrain variegated line. So that one there is called Brown Oak. You can see it's a nice kind of medium brown, almost orangey a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
But with some nice black streaking, the same process as the Silver Maple. So you'll get some spots that have nice big chunky black streaks. I don't know if you can see behind me, but this is actually our TimberTech display here. You can see some of this black streaking on that there. This is sandy birch. They go nicely together.
So sandy birch, actually goes really well with this and the rustic elm as
That's right. Yep. So this one's a little bit more orangey. This is, comparable to like kind of a tiki torch color, or even a cabin from Fibron.
In between a tiki torch and a spice rub, maybe.
Yeah. But black streaking instead of the Yeah. So that is all of the terrain line. So those are, the variegated ones do cost a little bit more in every market that I've seen. As soon as you add that second process of adding a color into it, the cost of manufacturing increases, and therefore it gets passed along, and the cost to the consumer increases as well. Now, everybody, if you watched our Trex episode, you'll know that Trex this year they blew up their lineup, and they came out with a bunch of boards that are going to be super low cost priced to try to compete with treated lumber, essentially treated decking. And TimberTech is actually doing the same thing. TimberTech actually announced it before Trex did, so it's not that they're copying them. They were maybe the first ones to do it, but they're coming out with some low-cost options too. So terrain was their low cost, and now these ones are going to come in probably about $1 a foot less than terrain even was. So this is going to be a super low price point. I just realized we've had these samples in our possession for weeks. We've known about these boards for probably a couple months. I have no idea what these are called.
We have no idea what colors these are. So we'll just go with gray and brown.
Yeah, some gray and brown. Oh wait, is there a sticker in the back?
It says prototype.
Oh, this one's called Prototype.
As well as this one.
Yeah, Prototype 1 and Prototype.
TimberTech better get their stuff together.
Yeah, they're sure not being named by the same guy's name in the Trex stuff. Eh?
No. Well, that's for sure.
What I forgot to mention is that the Reliaboard colors are called gray and cedar. I didn't mention the colors, but in Reliaboard, it's not.
So gray.
Not quite as
gray.
unique. So gray and cedar. Maybe.
Cedar.
Maybe these will be called the same thing. Who knows? Anyways, they're coming out with these low-cost boards. Now, this is a massive departure from TimberTech's traditional stance that all boards should be capped all four sides, because these ones are not going to be capped all four sides. Part of the way that they're going to save some cost on these boards is to not cap the back sides. Now, the ones that we're holding up here are full 1-inch thickness boards. What you're probably going to see in market is a scallop design pattern similar to what the train line is. That's what we're going to actually see in our market. They said that they're making some of these for some markets that require it. And I don't know if that's a commercial requirement or if some states have requirements that they don't allow scallop boards. I'm not sure why, but so if you're doing your own research on their website, you may see that this is offered in a thick 1-inch full thickness board and a scalloped version that looks like the scallops in that, right? So
I wonder what that's going to do as far as the cost goes on the board.
I don't know if I don't believe that this is going to be 1-inch thick. I think the solid ones are going to be a little bit narrower, like 7/8 or 15/16 or something. But the scalloped ones are supposed to be 1-inch thick. So these aren't, but expect to see scalloped. So these are, again, not variegated. They're just a solid color. These are fairly impressive as far as durability goes. We've kind of taken everybody's new boards and taken some screws to them and tried to rough them up a little bit. And the TimberTech Edge, did I mention that these are called Edge?
I don't know. They're called Edge.
Edge is the name of this line. These performed really well.
They did.
We scratched these boards, actually, these exact ones, and I don't see a scratch on them, and we tried. So as far as low-cost boards go for durability, if you've got some big dogs or...
But you have to look at it like this, and I don't imagine...
Yeah, like these performed better than the train line did, actually, as far as durability to the cap. And they performed better than the other brands that we tested as well in the low-cost ones. So if durability is an issue for you and you want a low-cost board, these two are going to give you both. So brown and gray, I don't know the names of them yet. They're not on the website yet, so I'm not real sure. Somebody out there is going to know, and then you should DM me and let me know what they are. Apparently, there is a potential third color, and maybe even a fourth color as well.
Oh, really?
As part of this lineup. The pictures we've seen, they just didn't send us a sample. The pictures we've seen had a third, like a creamy tanny color as well, like lighter than both of these, kind of a creamy tanny color.
Like a sandstone?
Kind of like a sandstone from
Clubhouse,
right? Yeah, maybe something like that. And I've also heard that there was a fourth one they were dabbling with. And so these two are a for sure thing. They're coming to market. I believe that between the third and fourth colors, they were trying to pick one. They were trying to see which one was going to be more accepted and go with it. So you may see a third Edge color out there as well. But these two here are surefire in-market ones coming to you soon in 2019. So,
cool.
Couple good options.
All right.
Where are we at now?
We're getting into the tropical.
Tropical.
Okay. I'll give you that one first.
Okay.
That's the small one.
So I don't think that there's been any changes to the tropical lineup for a couple years. The line itself isn't that old. But color changes, I'm trying to think, it's not ringing a bell that there's been any color changes to this lineup in the last few years. Somebody might correct me if I'm wrong on that too, but...
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, so we'll start off with Caribbean Redwood. I've only got a small sample of this because we don't really sell much of the reds to begin with. We don't even keep this one on the wall. It's available, we can order it, but we just don't do much with it. So Caribbean Redwood is a reddish color. It's got some black variegation in it. The whole terrain line has a very realistic wood grain to it. It's a little bit glossy, but it's got a very nice embossing to it. It's smoother. It's quite a bit smoother than the other lines.
And again, it's capped on all four sides, same as the terrain.
Yeah, capped all the way around.
Yeah, full 1-inch thick.
Yeah,
so it's a little bit. It can be a little bit slippery, I think.
It can be a little bit slick
because of the type of the embossing that's on it. But yeah, they're attractive boards.
This one is, I believe, Antigua Gold. Is that right?
I always get Antigua Gold and Antique Palm mixed up.
Yeah, and I think this one's Antigua Gold. Do we not have the other one?
Yeah, does it sit here?
Where are we at here?
It should be in here.
Antique Palm. Yeah. So that's Antique Palm. I believe this one's Antigua Gold.
Right. Okay.
They're very similar. It's just the Antique Palm is a little bit darker. They look a lot different on camera.
They do. People are
all of our excuses about them being so close.
We're not colorblind, I swear.
Look at these things. So Antigua Gold, Antique Palm.
Right.
These would look good together.
They would.
So a couple browns. This one's a little bit more orangey. This one's a little bit more true brown.
So more like Trex Tiki Torch. More maybe Spice
Rum-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, these price points are kind of mid-tier. So they're not the high end.
Like $4.
Yeah, we always had them in the $4 range Canadian, so that would be like low threes, probably American, somewhere in there. And then we've got this one here that was released as an Island Mist competitor. It's the Amazon Mist. It's a bit more blue. It's a beautiful board.
It is a really nice board.
A bit more bluish, but it's still got that dark streaking in it. So that's quite nice as well. Yeah, it's been good. We don't sell a lot of the tropical. We don't sell a lot of any of the mid-tier price point from anybody.
No, it's
really.
either entry level or the kind of the top of the line.
Yeah,
price point wise.
But anyways, it's a great line. It looks beautiful when you see it installed. The graining, the coloring is really attractive, and you don't have to spend the high price point to get it. So I think it's really good.
Right.
I don't know if this hair right here came from you or me. It doesn't look like either of us, but that's a little bit strange. It's a good thing I didn't have a plate of food right here. That would have been weird. Yeah, no comment on that one.
That's not my color.
It's definitely not yours.
Not my color.
All right, what do we got next? That's it for tropical.
Yeah, now we're into the legacy stuff.
Into the legacy. Now, legacy is TimberTech's, what do we call that?
Flagship?
Flagship.
Flagship is good.
Legacy
this is my... Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, well, I'm used to it. Legacy is TimberTech's flagship line. Their most beautiful board. They're the one they put all the marbles into. It's obviously the highest price point as well, so it's not for every budget, but it is beautiful.
It's probably my favorite, my unbiased opinion. This is probably the most attractive series in the shop that we carry.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
It sets itself apart a couple ways. There's multiple colors streaking through here. It's not just one color. Like you've got that nice base color there, but you've also got some light colors streaking through it, light brown. You've got some black streaking through there. You got multiple colors streaking, which really adds to the character of the board. And the texture.
It's like a hand-scraped
hardwood finish.
Yeah.
So it's become quite trendy in your home to put in like hand-scraped hardwood. That's what they're replicating here. It's going to be hard to see on camera. I don't know if we can get that in there or not, but it's got a nice rippled kind of scraped finish on top of that board, and so it really adds to the, actually you can see it more like that. You can see kind of like the ridges there. So the coloring is gorgeous, the look and feel is gorgeous.
It's got a nice thick cap on it.
It's protected all sides.
Helps for scratch durability.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful stuff.
So there are quite a few browns in this series, I believe. So that was what?
Oh, we didn't even mention what that was. That was the mocha. So that's a nice dark brown.
This is pecan. Or pecan.
Did you say pecan or pecan?
Pecan or pecan? I don't know.
Mention in the comments, what is it? Is it pecan? Pecan? Or pecan?
Is that another American?
I don't know that that's an
Canadian
American Canadian thing. I think that's like people who are right versus people who are wrong thing. No, I don't think it's a border thing. I think like just people are split on how it's said.
It's kind of like, catsup and ketchup, right?
That or tomato, like all those things. Tomato. Anyway, pecan, nice light brown. Again, same hand scrape finish, nice streaking in it. Really good looking board.
This is Tigerwood.
Tigerwood comes to now this. There's quite a bit of color variation, not only in the streaking of the board, but also from board to board.
Right.
And in the length of the board, you'll get some lighter spots and some darker spots, even in the base color. And so this sample that we're holding here happens to be quite yellow, but there is a lot of boards that you'll get in this series that are a little bit more neutral brown too, and it'll fade and change throughout the deck. Like it looks great up close, and then from further back, there's a lot of color change as well. So Tigerwood's quite nice. Again, multiple colors. If you look closer, you can see some kind of reddish brown streaking, some black, some gray.
There's like 3 to 4 colors in these
boards. There's a lot of colors that go into these boards. The base color plus 3, 4, 5 streaking colors. So Tigerwood, beautiful board. If you ever see a deck done in this, it looks awesome. As much as the small sample looks like a little yellow, on a full deck it looks amazing.
This is
beautiful.
This is a beautiful board.
This one is new last year, I believe. They released espresso.
3 new ones? 3 new ones last year? Or
3 new ones last year. Before, because I don't want to end this on one that we don't have.
Right.
So I don't have a sample of Sapili
Sapele. You're
Sapele.
right.
Sapele. Sapele. There's a nice color called Sapele as well. You're going to see on the website, which is meant to replicate Sapele hardwood. That unfortunately we don't have a sample here of for some reason. So unfortunately I can't show that to you. But it's another nice addition to the legacy line that was brought in last year. And so this is also a last year board. Espresso. It's dark.
It's super dark.
I would say it's still brown, but it's almost browny gray, like dark.
Would you say it's more the new Clubhouse walnut color would be close to this?
Kind of, yeah. It's almost gotten so dark that it looks grayish too.
Right, eh?
And that's what this is, I would say. Like a deep brown, grayish color.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. We had a guy this year that did this color with the next one, with Ashwood. Looks dynamite. It's so good.
So here's the next one.
So these two together, right there. That's a hot combo, folks. So Ashwood's on this side over here, and Espresso looks great together. Ashwood is a big hit, especially in the Canadian market, because it's gray again, but it's dirty gray.
Yeah, but it almost pulls, like it can pull a maroon or some purples or reds, depending on what you put it up against.
Yeah, because there's so much variation of the variegation of colors. Like there's a lot of color streaking in there. You take a close look and there's blacks and browns and grays and all sorts of stuff in there. So beautiful looking board.
And this is my favorite board in the whole shop.
Favorite board in the whole shop?
Favorite board in the whole
There's
shop.
80 colors in here.
I know.
80 colors, people.
Whitewashed cedar. That's my jam. This one is my jam.
This is your jam, eh?
It is, yeah. And
How come you've never sold any?
You know why? I was going to get to that. I was going to get to why we've never sold any of this.
I'm dying to know.
I think it's because of the price point in comparison to some of the higher end PVC boards that we have for sale.
So what's like the sandstone? Like this is a pretty unique color.
I think. Well, I guess if we're speaking this color in particular, I think it's quite unique. It's white. It's about as white as you can get. For a deck board. So I think it's very exclusive to what a particular customer would want. But I think the legacy line as a whole, based on the price point that that we're selling this at, versus something that's in the PVC end of things that has, that's going to be a little bit better for scratch durability, a little bit better for traction control. It's a tougher sell as far as this line goes.
Sure.
But for me personally, as far as the color goes, the legacy line is unbelievable.
Yeah, this is a nice board. I was razzing you a bit there, but I also think this is a beautiful board. It's just nice to have something that's a little bit different than everything else that's out there, right? This one also, too, if you're worried about heat buildup, was one of the best testing boards in our heat tests that we did this year. Obviously, because it's damn near white. There's a reason for that, but it performed. I think it was the number 2 composite in the whatever we tested, 60-some boards we tested.
Boards. Yeah.
There's only one board that was cooler than it. So tons of color in there again, if you can see that, if we can get the camera to focus on that. Tons of swirling light gray and kind of like a creamy brownish in there a little bit. You can actually see it quite a bit more on the sides here where the embossing isn't distracting you.
Like, I think if you paired that with espresso or something.
Oh, that would look hot, hey?
That would look so good. Where is it?
Bring up espresso here.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of contrast in there. That wouldn't be.
There is.
That wouldn't be for everybody, but that's that'd be sexy if you saw that.
It's almost like an Oreo, half of an Oreo cookie there.
Oh yeah. Like if you could make an Oreo deck. Wouldn't that be something?
That's the challenge for 2019.
Oh man, somebody's got to do that.
Somebody's got to build an Oreo deck.
We got like the snack series. We could have the snack series.
Perfect.
We
Oreos for the next webcast.
Out of here.
Webcast, vlog, video blog. What is this thing?
YouTube show that's also available on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. But its home base is on YouTube. So that's TimberTech, the number 2 brand in all of composite decking in all the states. Obviously, Trex is the big dog that everybody knows. TimberTech is the Pepsi to Trex's Coke. They are a gigantic company who's been around for a long time that knows exactly what they're doing. Great warranties, great products, great service, great distribution network. Now backed by Azek as well. I mean, they're not really even hardly a number 2. It's they're the two big dogs, right? Trex and TimberTech. So a great lineup of colors, a great range of price points now with, they already had that, but now with Edge in the mix, they've widened the options even more. I believe some of their prices are going to be coming down a little bit this year, even on the existing lineup. So that's a welcome news to homeowners. And I don't know, that's about it. I don't have much more to say about TimberTech other than it's really good stuff.
It is good stuff.
Yeah. We had a plant tour last year. We went down and checked out the Azek plant tour to see how this stuff's all made. Very interesting. Great campus they have down there and kind of training center. So as we mentioned with Trex as well, Azek TimberTech is not just a decking company. That's their bread and butter, but they also make railing. They make a dry space, keep underneath your deck dry system as well.
Azek makes those patio blocks. Huh?
Yeah, the rubber pavers. Azek pavers. So they make quite a few different things. We focus on these episodes just on the decking side because somewhere down the line, we're going to be stuck for content.
We're going to have to talk about something else.
That's we're going to bring all that stuff back.
Yeah.
And so we'll talk about their railing and whatnot further down the road on a different episode. But
and I think, well, I guess we could mention too, all the TimberTech comes grooved edge boards, solid edge boards, Cortex screws, Cortex plugging system, ProPlug plugging system is not available for anything that's scalloped. So like the terrain, so some color match screws obviously are going to work best for that.
Yep.
But as far as the Tropical and the Legacy, Cortex are readily available for those colors.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, great fastening options available. They do have their own fasteners as well, but all of these boards, but they do work with generic 1-inch fasteners or Tiger Claws or all of those systems as well. Yeah, but anyway, great lineup. So I think it's only fitting if we.
I think it's just
sign this off.
Should just be just a Shane Chapman guitar solo.
Just me?
Just you.
You're the musician here. You do vocals. Sing these guys out. Sing us a little ditty. Can you sing us a ditty on the way out?
No.
No.
Put me on the spot.
Well, then that's it. I guess that's the end of the episode. Until next time, we'll tackle some more brands. And that's it. Thanks, folks. We killed that ending, right? Like that was so good at the end there, the way you backed me up. Left me hanging on